Sharanam Brajema. Aho Chitramaho Chitram Mande Tat Prema Bandhanam Yad Badham Muktidam Muktam Brahma Krida Bhrigi Kritam Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tagvamha Devamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukchurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. The divine souls. And we'll do a few minutes of chanting. And as I've been explaining to you throughout the week, you should take this time while we're chanting to think of God and God only. So leave your pencils and papers down, close your eyes and keep them closed for the few minutes that we're chanting. Forget that you have anyone sitting beside you or around you and just close your eyes and think of God. So you can think of Radha and Krishna if you would like, or any form of God that you'd like to think of. And while we're doing that, we'll also chant Radhe Govinda. Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Tonight is the final night of this series on the Gita, and we'll be covering the 6th chapter. And as we do every night, we'll be splitting up the group. So I'll invite the adults, first of all, to head over to the video room and watch part 2 of the Anurag Vairagya Rahasya, which you started watching last night. And then after 30 minutes, we'll switch, and the youth will go over there, and adults will come back. Can I have someone? Yesterday we talked about turning towards Krishna. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So if we turn towards Krishna, what happens? You know?
He'll protect us.
Yes. What else happens? Something goes away.
Then
Ignorance and
The ignorance.
like the blanket covering the light.
And what's the blanket covering the light called? Maya.
Yeah.
Right. And what do we get? If we, who didn't answer yet? What do we get if we turn towards Krishna? Go ahead.
Divine happiness.
Good. Divine happiness. Did you have something else, or that's what you were going to say? Okay. So,
Your hand is covered. Can you move it to that side possibly?
to help us turn towards Krishna, Krishna tells us about meditation in the 6th chapter. So in the 6th chapter, he says how to meditate on him. You'll have to wait until I ask you a question. So how to meditate? See, if I tell you to meditate, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? And maybe it's different because you've been here all week. But what do you think of? Yes?
Sitting with your eyes closed and chanting God's name.
Okay, that's good. Now, Nikhil has been around me a long time, so that's the first thing that comes to his mind. What about some of the rest of you? If I say meditate, what's the first thing you think of doing? Yes? Thinking about God. Another one about God. Good. Anyone else? Yes?
Your mind is talking about God, like inside.
Okay. What about some other answers? Because meditating on God is actually what we're going to talk about tonight, but there are some other ways of meditating too that some people try to do. Yes?
Calm your mind.
Yeah, but that's what meditating means, right? To calm your mind. Rishi?
Focusing on your breathing or...
Okay, yeah, that's a different way to meditate. Focus on your breathing. Did you ever think that meditating means think of nothing?
Yeah. Well, I never thought that.
Some people think that's what meditating is, that you have to clear your mind and think of nothing. So that's not how Krishna describes meditation. He says meditate on him, don't try to think of nothing. So we're going to start filling out your blanks. Number 1, Krishna is emphasizing on remembering him and loving him in his personal form. What's the word written next to personal, which means the same thing in Sanskrit? Yes. Sakar. Good. He is not talking about meditating on one's own soul. He didn't say meditate on yourself. That's another way that a lot of people try to meditate. They try to think of their own soul, which is kind of hard because what does your soul look like? It doesn't even have a form. It's so small you can't even see it or imagine it. So it's really hard to try to meditate on. But thinking of Krishna is easy because you know what he looks like. He looks like us except bluish complexion and a little bit different dress with a crown and peacock feather and a flute. Not too difficult to think of. But thinking of your soul would be really hard. Also, he's not saying to meditate on, yes? Formless God, right. Because he's saying me. Although formless God is part of Krishna, but here he's not saying to meditate on formless. And what's the word for formless in Sanskrit? In the very back, yes.
Nirakar.
Yes, nirakar. He emphasizes on loving him. That's number 3. And feeling related to him. Which basically means the same thing. If you feel related to him, then you love him. If you love him, it's because you feel related to him. So if I tell you to meditate on Krishna by feeling related to him, what would you think of? What kind of relationship would you think of having with Krishna? What would you do if I told you to do it right now? Do you know what I mean by relationship? Like your mother is one relationship. So how would you think of Krishna? Yes.
That it protects us. That we should.
You tell me a
So
relationship.
that we should be grateful to him.
But do you know what I mean by relationship? Like your mother to son. That's a relationship. So tell me one relation. So tell me how you would think of
Like
Krishna.
an older brother.
Good. Older brother. Yes.
Older sister.
Oh. So you would think of Radha.
Yeah, father.
Yes.
Cousin.
Cousin. That's a good one. Yeah. Friend is good. Yep.
Dad.
Yes. Krishna could be your dad. Yep.
Young sister.
Yeah, Radha could be your little sister. You could hold her in your arms or feed her, put her to bed, help take care of her. Yep.
Younger brother.
Krishna could be your younger brother. So you have all these choices, and that's what meditating on Krishna means. Wait till the next question. So that's what meditating on Krishna means, is thinking of a relationship with him. So simple, right? So it's easier than trying to think of formless God or think of your own soul or the next thing. He is not saying to think of nothing. If I tell you to close your eyes right now and think of nothing, you'll be thinking of something. And even if you could think of nothing, what's the use of thinking of nothing? It's better to think of God. If you think of God, then God will purify your heart. If you're thinking of nothing, there's nothing. So no big deal. Yes?
You can't think of anything. I mean, like, your mind can't think of anything.
Your mind what?
Your mind can't think of anything.
What do you mean? It can't think of nothing. That's right.
So,
And number 5, the point of meditation is to do what to the mind by attaching it to Krishna? You know?
your mind?
No. Yes, and purify. That's right. The point of meditating is to purify your mind. So if you think of nothing, that's not going to purify your mind. If you think of Krishna, that will purify your mind. Purify means to make clean. So the cleaner our mind is, the better people we become. And the closer we come to finding God. Everybody caught up writing? Okay, so this is what Krishna says very simply about meditation, that you have to, if you want to meditate, anyone can do it. You don't have to be an adult to meditate. Anyone can do it. You just find a place where nobody's going to disturb you, a quiet place, and you sit comfortably like you are now. So why don't we try it? Try meditating by closing your eyes and thinking of, we were talking about the relationships, right? So think of Krishna in one of those ways, whatever way is most favorite to you. Okay, everybody close your eyes and think of Krishna. Keep your eyes closed and keep thinking of him. And now that you can see him in front of you, and you've made him related to you in some way, now do something with him. If he's your... Close your eyes. If he's your little brother, then do what you would do with your little brother. If you're thinking of Radha and she's your little sister, do what you would do with your little sister. Same thing, big brother, big sister, cousin, best friend, mother, father. Okay, now you can open your eyes. So you were just meditating, and you can do that any time. But I would suggest doing that before you go to bed at night. Sit on your bed before you lie down, and it's a way of praying to Krishna. It's a different way of praying. You know, sometimes people tell you you have to sing something or say a prayer or do a puja or arti. But you can just sit and think of Krishna in that way, and that's a perfectly good prayer. It's a way of meditating and praying at the same time. So you can do that in the morning when you get up. You can do it at night before you go to bed. But in addition to that, Krishna tells us that, let's say, before you go to bed, you think of him for 2 minutes. And after you get up in the morning, you think of him for 1 minute before you go and have your bath and everything. Then he says that doesn't mean forget me for the whole rest of the day. He says the rest of the day, I'm going to give you some instructions to follow as well. So, thinking back to the previous chapters, that time when you sit and you're meditating on Krishna, is that karma yoga or karma sannyas? Yes.
Karma yoga.
What does karma yoga mean? Give me the definition. Try your best. It means doing two things, one with your body, one with your mind. So what are we doing with our mind when we're doing karma yoga? Our mind is attached to whom? God. But what is our body doing during karma yoga? We're physically doing something in the world, some work, some actions. So karma yoga means when you're busy doing something, but you're still keeping your mind attached to God. So when you're sitting and meditating, is that karma yoga or karma sannyas? Jessica? Good, karma sannyas. But Krishna says the rest of the day you have to try to do karma yoga. You also have to try to remember him. So number one, always feel that Krishna is, what would you say there? Rishi?
With you?
With you or near you. I pointed at Nikhil and said Rishi.
Point me.
Never feel that you are, Nikhil?
Alone.
That's right. So if you stop writing for a second, can you get the feeling like Krishna is near you, beside you, behind you?
Yeah.
So keep that feeling all day. That's what Krishna says. Although Krishna is everywhere, you don't have to try to think of him everywhere. Diya. You don't have to try to think of Krishna being everywhere, because that's too much to think of. Just think of him in one place. He's with you, right here. That's enough. So that's number 3. Don't try to imagine that Krishna is everywhere. Just think of him at one place, with you. Yes?
Could you mention?
Sure.
You must live a happy life.
I'm going to go a different direction with this one. So Krishna is saying, with your mind, you should remember he's with you all the time. Now physically, he also says, Natyashnatastu yogosti nachaikantamanashnatah nachati swapnashilasya jagrato naiva charjuna. He says you should live a balanced and healthy life in the world. So that's number 4. Balanced or healthy, either one of those you can write. He says don't sleep too much and don't sleep too little. Don't eat too much, don't eat too little. So I think you know what we'll put in 5 and 6 now. Yes?
Eat the right amount.
Eat the right amount. And number 6? Sleep the right amount. That's right. And someone read number 7. Yes.
Be polite and respectful.
Be polite and respectful. So he's saying during the day you should keep your mind calm by remembering him, and then try to be polite and respectful for everybody, and treat your body with respect too, which means giving it good food, not junk food, not eating too much. But if you don't feel like eating, but it's dinner time, you should still eat because your body needs food. So you have to eat healthy food at the right time, in the right amount. Krishna tells us that's how a good person lives. Yes?
My mom says if you don't eat like very little bit of food, you like get stones in your tummy.
You get what?
Stones in your tummy, like if you don't like.
That's true. Whatever your mom tells you is true.
Not always.
No.
Yes?
Actually, yeah, that's
Well, you're talking about concept.
Also,
So it means Krishna's telling us 2 parts. The part when we're sitting and only remembering him, and then the rest of the day, how should we live our life? So what did he tell us for how to live your life when you're active and engaged in the world? One thing, yes.
They should be balanced.
Your life should be well balanced, which means, what are some of the things that have to be balanced? Yes. Sleep right.
a balanced diet.
A balanced diet, yes. How many of you like what your parents give you to eat? Some of you, that's good. I like what your parents give me to eat when I visit you. But I see some of you don't like to eat it. You ask for pizza or junk food. But actually your parents are trying to give you something good to feed your body and make your body healthy. And if your body is healthy, your mind will be at peace. So that's why it's important to eat the healthy food that your parents give you. Every once in a while you can have something a little unhealthy, but not every day, all the time. Yes?
It's like that you can exercise is also one of the things.
I was just going to say that. You also need to exercise to keep yourself healthy. Okay. So, how many of you, when I was having you meditate a few minutes ago, how many of you had your mind go somewhere else other than thinking of Krishna? You were trying to think of Krishna and the mind went out.
Well, my mind went somewhere else, but I brought Krishna there.
Oh, good.
Me too.
So that happens, especially if we were to do it for longer, if we did it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, everybody's mind would start going here and there. So in the Gita, Arjuna asked Krishna, he said, why is the mind so difficult to control? Or actually he didn't ask why, he just complained. He said, Krishna, my mind is difficult to control. It's hard for me to keep it focused on you. So you know what Krishna said? He said, yes, I know, but you have to practice. If you practice, then you'll be able to keep your mind focused on me.
I don't like it.
So, number 1, under the controlling the mind section, Arjuna complains to Krishna that the mind is too difficult to control, so how will I be able to attach it to you? Someone read number 2? Yes.
Krishna says that he agrees the mind is difficult to control, but it is possible to do if you...
If you what?
Yeah.
And what word would you put there? Do you know? Yes. Practice. That's good. And what does practice mean?
Like,
What does it mean? It means practice doing...
Like focusing on it.
Right? The meditation I had you do, practice that every day. You'll get better at it. Yes?
Practice exercising?
No, we're talking about keeping your mind on God right now. How to control the mind and keep it on God. Yes?
Is it like practice like sitting quietly and thinking of God, fighting your war?
Thinking of God what?
Fighting?
Oh, sure, you could think of that.
That can be practice.
So number 3, I think we already answered. What is the practice? Whenever your mind runs out, repeatedly bring it back to
God?
God. Very simple. So who is going to practice a couple of minutes of meditation every day from now on? Okay, what time of day are you going to do it?
Day night.
Before sleeping?
What time? Afternoon? Sure. When? When you get home from school? Or on the bus coming back from school? That's a good time. Yes?
When I have free time.
Great.
My mom tells me to do it because I wake up early, so my mom tells me to do it right when the sun rises.
That's perfect. It's good if you set a fixed time. Yes?
What would you say is the definition of meditating? What's your definition?
All the different things we talked about are meditating. But you could say deeply thinking about anything or anyone is meditating.
So then you could do it anytime, even when you're like moving around.
Sure, but it's a little distracting. If you're walking, you have to keep your eyes open and think about where you're going. But then you could meditate with your eyes open. You could pretend or imagine that Krishna is walking with you, which wouldn't be pretending because he is with you all the time. So that would be like a walking with your eyes open meditation.
So you could do it like while practicing sport or something? Could you do it?
Yes, you could. You could try that, but I would bet that you would forget once you got involved in the sport. But it's worth trying. What I mean is, when you're really engaged in doing something, it's hard to consciously think of Krishna. At that time, it's better just to remember he's with you. But you can't like visualize him there on the field with you or whatever you're doing. But you can still remember he's with you. And if you have a break, then you can think more of him. Yeah.
Does God have to meditate?
No, God doesn't have to meditate. But Krishna does anyway. You know who he meditates on?
Who?
Radha.
Who's that?
Radha is, see Krishna standing here with the flute?
Yeah.
Next to him is Radha.
That's his sister?
That's his own self, but in a female form. So he has 2 forms, as a male and as a female. Yeah? Yes?
Can you even like meditate God to 6 seconds and then stop?
You can, but you should also find a time when you can do it for a few minutes. Okay, we just have a couple quick things left. Arjun asks him one more question.
I know I have to answer for me.
He says, Krishna, what happens if I die before I get fully surrendered to you? Meaning, we're talking about turning towards Krishna. So the more you practice this meditation, the more you'll turn towards him. What if I die before I get 100% of the way there? Is everything that I did lost? Do I start from 0 in my next life? So, is the answer yes or no? You know?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you start from 0?
No,
No, you don't start from 0. Which is it?
no,
Yes.
no.
No, you don't start from 0. Krishna says they will start from where they, yes, in the back, left off. That's right. So if you got 50% of the way there, that's where you start from in your next life. You have a question? Actually, we're going to stop here. So do any of you have any questions before I send you over into the... Yes?
Like God and then like the world, like mean, God holds all the souls inside them. If the souls still haven't changed God until then, when He releases them all, they will go on from where they were.
Yes, exactly. So in case you didn't hear what he asked, he says, when the whole universe gets dissolved and everything, including the Mayic energy and all of the souls, come back into God, those souls who haven't attained God by then when God again releases the universe, do those souls go and get born and get to continue from where they left off? So the answer is yes. You have a question?
Which one world is better, divine world or this world?
Which world is better, the divine world or this world? Well, this world is great because from here you can get to there. Meaning, while living here, you can attain God. But in terms of happiness, there's more happiness in the divine world. It's perfect in the divine world, and you're with God.
Can you go to the divine world?
Yes, that's what happens when you become...
But like, where is it? In outer space?
No, it's not in outer space. Just like God is here, but you can't see Him, the divine world is here too, but you can't see it until you attain God.
So God brings the divine world to you?
Yep. Yeah. Yes.
What if all the souls attain God, then would He make more souls?
He can't make more souls, and you can never run out of souls because there's unlimited number. So it's a fact that every second unlimited souls are attaining God all over this universe, every second. But there's always unlimited souls left. Even after unlimited souls go, there's always unlimited left. So we never run out. Yes?
We're into the first page.
It's okay. We don't have time today. So you can guess that nothing on the first page will be on your exam. Yes?
But I thought there was a fixed number of souls. But you're saying there's unlimited people attaining God, but at the same time there's still unlimited.
Yes, and it is a fixed number. Because no new souls are being created and no souls are being destroyed. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, it does.
Okay. Yes?
God doesn't have a soul, right?
God is His soul. And His soul is His body. It's all one thing. Not like us where we have a soul inside our body.
So God's soul is bigger than our soul?
Yes, you could say that.
And the soul who attain God choose to come back down and help other people?
Yes, many souls do that. They're called saints. And they come back from the divine world and they come in this world to help us. Yes?
Say you reach God, what if, can you ever lose that?
No.
Like happiness?
It's forever. Otherwise, we have to make that effort to find God, and then if you could lose it, someone would say, well, what's the use? We'll end up right back where we are today. So that doesn't happen. Once you find God, it's permanent. So you can all head over towards the exam. Wait, actually, before you go, wait 1 second. So on this exam, although it's not serious in this way that we're not going to pass or fail you based on your exam, but you should take it seriously, meaning that it's a chance to see how much you learned this week. And even if you only get a few questions right, it's more than you would have gotten if I'd given you this test on the very first day. So it means you learned something. But we do have some rules for taking the exam. You shouldn't talk amongst each other. If you have a question or you don't understand one of the questions on the exam, you can raise your hand and one of the adults over there who will be there to help you, they can come and help you understand the question. They won't give you the answer. And if anyone starts talking to their neighbor, then those same adults will come and just take your exam away from you, and you won't get the chance to do it. So no talking to each other, no cheating. Krishna is watching you. So take the exam in a proper way, silently, and then when you're done with the exam, you'll get a chance to play a devotional game while the exams are being marked. Yes?
Do we want to collect our folders now? Or?
You can bring your folders with you, but you'll have to you'll give them to the adults over there because it's not an open book test. Okay, off you go. This chapter 6, is also sometimes referred to as the Dhyan Yoga of the Gita. So in this chapter, Shri Krishna talks, not the entire chapter, but a good part of it is about meditation. So when we say meditation, people think of different things. You know, some people think about meditating on their soul. Some people think about meditating on the breath. Some people think about meditating on God. Some people think meditation means think of nothing. So in fact, these are all different types of meditation. But here in the 6th chapter, Shri Krishna talks about meditating on Him. He doesn't talk about meditating on nothing. So you'll remember that yesterday I was talking about how souls have to turn towards God, that we're eternally turned away from God. Thus, Maya is covering us. We're under the bondage of Maya only because we're turned away from God. And the effect of Maya is that we actually forget our true identity as souls and we start identifying with our physical body, which is perfect ignorance. Because we are not the body, we are the soul which resides within the body, but we forget that. And then since we're attached to the body, or we think we're the body, we get attached to everything related to the body. Meaning this whole world is related to the body, because the body is made of Maya, and the world is made of Maya. So the two are sajatiya. So if we think we're the body, then we're going to look for happiness from this world. And then we form attachments due to that by desiring worldly things. And then due to those attachments, we're reborn again and again in this world. And that's been going on since eternity. Simply by turning towards God, the whole situation rectifies itself. You turn towards God, Maya goes away, the effect of Maya on you is finished, and you attain real happiness from God, not just the hope of happiness which we've been chasing since eternity in this world. So, to speed up the process of turning towards God, we have to do some meditation on God. Shri Krishna says, Yogi yunjita satata matmanam rahasi sthita ekakiyata chittatma nirashira parigraha. Yogi yunjita. Yunjita means to join your mind with God. So who is doing that? The yogi. But in Gita, yogi does not mean the one practicing Ashtanga Yoga. Yogi means the one joining his mind with God. So yogi in the Gita means bhakt in most places. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi sthita. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably. Sit still. And join your mind with Krishna. He says, Nirashi aparigraha. Don't have hope from this world. He's saying directly, Asha means having hope. Nirash ho jao. Lose hope. So he doesn't mean become depressed. What he means is what you just heard in the speech from Kripaluji Maharaj. Educate your mind. My mind? Listen, happiness is not in this world. Happiness is in God. So nirash ho jao sansar se. Then you can meditate on God. Otherwise, why would you even want to meditate on God? Aparigraha means stop making plans to collect more and more and more things in this world as a means of finding happiness. So he says you have to make that decision, then you can meditate. Otherwise, what's the point of meditating? The point of meditating should be to find God. Upavishyasane yunjyad yogamatma vishuddhaye. The point of meditating is vishuddhaye. You purify your mind by meditating on Krishna so that you can become God realized. Ultimately, when your mind is fully purified, you'll be fully surrendered to Him and you can get God realized. That's the point of meditating in this Gita. Some people may just meditate for relaxation. That's different. The meditation described in the Gita is for God realization. So he says, before you even start, you have to make the decision in your mind. Happiness is in Krishna, that's why I want to meditate on Him. So that's why he says, Nirashi aparigraha. Turn your hope for finding happiness from the world to Krishna. Then start meditating. So how to meditate, he says, Mana sanyamya Matchitto yukta asita mat para. In one half shlok, Shri Krishna says a lot. He says, calm your mind and start thinking of me. How? He says, mat parayana, which means to have loving feelings for Him. Mat chitta, your chit is your heart. Mat means attach it to Krishna. Attach your heart to Krishna. Mat para and mat parayana means form a loving relationship with Him. Mat para, you should feel related to Him. Mat parayana, be dedicated to Him in your mind. So you see, he's indicating towards the personal form. Some people also try to meditate on formless God. Meditating either on formless God or on your own soul or on nothing is very, very difficult. He talks about that more in the 12th chapter when Arjuna asks him, what's better, meditating on you in your personal form as Krishna or in your formless aspect as, formless divine truth? Which is better? Krishna says, although both will come to me because both are me, but it's much easier and faster if you just meditate on me as Krishna in my personal form. So here he's indicating that with these words, mat para and mat parayana. It's indicating when he's saying have a relationship or love me, then it means his personal form. How can we love formless God? The two don't go together. It would be like if I said to you, love your formless mother. As soon as I say the word mother, a form comes in your mind. Love your formless father. As soon as I say father, a form comes in your mind. If no form comes, no love comes. You love someone, somebody, someone with a body you can love. So you can love Sakar Brahm. Shri Krishna in his personal form is so easy to love. So loving him means feeling related. And feeling related means you have options. He could be your father. He could be your big brother. He could be your little brother. He could be your cousin. He could be your best friend. He could be your sister. Think of him as Radharani, Shri Krishna's female form. Little sister, big sister, best friend, Sakhi, mother, beloved. You can have all of these relationships, just like you have relationships in the world. Divyo Deva Narayano Mata Pita Bhrata Suhrid Gati. In the Veda it says, you can make any relationship you want with God. You have all of the relationships. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. You are my everything. Mata, pita, bhrata, everything. This is a form of meditation, and this is the way Krishna is telling us to meditate in the Gita. If you try to think of your soul, how will you do that? Do you know what your soul looks like? It's so small, it's infinitesimal, it doesn't even have a form. How are you going to meditate on that? If you try to meditate on nothing, first of all, it's practically impossible because you're always thinking of something. I used to try to meditate on nothing or get into a state of blank state of mind. And what would happen every time when I would think my thoughts had disappeared, instantly I would think, I did it. I thought of nothing. I'd be frustrated. I could never think of nothing. So thinking of nothing, even if we could do it, what would we get? When the goal is to purify our mind and become surrendered to God, if you're thinking of nothing, is your mind getting purified? No, nothing's happening if you're thinking of nothing. If you're thinking of God, your mind is getting purified. Thinking of nothing has no value. Zero. Shunya. So Krishna is saying, think of Him. It's a way of attaching your mind to Him by feeling a relationship and also thinking of His form, His personal form. We call that Rup Dhyan. Those of you who came for the yoga session earlier in the day, after yoga I taught you Rup Dhyan. I described the form of Krishna and guided you through a meditation of how to think of His form. You can also think of His divine abode or think of any lila. These are all incorporated into what Krishna is saying here. The Gita doesn't go into much detail on how you can meditate on Krishna, meaning as far as giving you material, what to think of. That comes in Bhagavatam. In Bhagavatam, there are beautiful descriptions in the 10th skand of Shri Krishna's form, His decorations, His leelas. So that's the actual material we can use and meditate on those descriptions. Or by saints like Surdas or Kripaluji Maharaj. You can use that devotional material and meditate on Krishna. Gita is not giving you devotional material that you can meditate on. You can say that Bhagavatam is beyond Gita. That's one of the reasons why. But Gita is indicating that you have to love Krishna. You have to make Him your own. And the easiest way to do that is when you think of Him in His personal form. So this is how he says to meditate. And when Arjuna says to him, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. You just heard this description by Sri Kripaluji Maharaj. Arjuna says, but the mind is so difficult to control. When I try to think of you, my mind goes elsewhere. It's more difficult to control than the wind. So Krishna said, yes, it's correct. Asanshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam. Yes, avashya, it's true. Asanshayam, there's no doubt, Arjun. The mind is difficult to control. It is durnigraha, but it's not anigraha. It's not impossible to control. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. You practice. When the mind goes out, yato yato nischarati manas chanchalamassthiram. Wherever the mind goes, because it goes out. Tatastato niyamyaita atmanyeva vasham nayet. You bring it back. That's it. Mind will go out because we're attached to things. We're more attached to things and people in the world than we are to Krishna. And the attachment has a gravitational pull on our mind. It means whatever you're attached to, your mind gets drawn towards that thing. So if you're trying to think of Krishna but you're more attached to someone else, then that person will come into your mind, or your mind will go to that person. Would someone please close the doors? That'll keep the sounds out. Thank you. So think of it either way. Wherever your mind goes in the world, bring it back to Krishna when you're trying to meditate. Don't get flustered or frustrated. It's bound to happen until we reach a certain point where our attachment to Krishna has grown more than it is in the world. Then our mind will tend towards Krishna and meditation becomes easier. But until then, the pull is always going to be towards the world. So the mind will always jump around. The only way to get past that point is keep bringing it back to Krishna. Put in the time. Do some meditation every day. I had the kids decide to do 2 minutes or 5 minutes of meditation every day when they get up or before they go to bed or on the bus on the way home from school, something like that. You can do more. You can do 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, more if you want. But the more you do and the more you practice, the more your mind will become attached to Krishna. Another trick you can use is that wherever your mind goes, if you get tired of bringing it back, then leave it there but put Krishna there in that place, wherever it goes. Same thing. Eventually, your mind will say, wherever I go, the same Krishna is there. What's the use in running out? I might as well sit still and just think of Krishna. So this in gist is the meditation described by Shri Krishna in the Gita. Does anyone have a question about that before we touch on some of the other topics of the 6th chapter? Yes?
Regardless of religion, we think God is one. God is one, and why same God didn't appear in the same shape, so there were no fights in the human beings all over the world? Why, coming in the world in a different shape created problem for us?
He doesn't really appear to ordinary souls. Even when Krishna comes or Ram comes, they're not interacting with ordinary people. It's not like there's a big announcement that God is currently on the earth planet, everyone should come and meet him. It doesn't happen like that. In fact, his interaction was with other saints who came to help him reveal the Leelas. So the reason for Ram and Krishna coming, the main reason, is to reveal the Leelas that are recorded in Bhagavatam and Ramayana. Then that becomes devotional material for us to meditate on. But at the time, there's no benefit to us meeting them because we don't recognize their divinity anyway. So I would say that God is not appearing to different people at different times in different forms around the world. But God is being represented, you could say, by different teachers or different preachers in different ways around the world. So that representation may be, a certain religion may have been started by a saint for a particular group of people that they need this this teaching at this time. And maybe that's only a small part of the overall knowledge of Sanatana Dharma. But just that much is required, and that's presented. So then people start following that, and it comes down through history, but it was what was required at that time for those people. Not every religion has all the answers. There are some things that are not answered in certain religious books. But the knowledge of Sanatana Dharma is available for the whole world. If someone is really at that point where they need that knowledge, God will arrange that they'll be exposed to the right answers from the right teacher. Any other questions? Yes.
What is the big thing that you feel that is not answered in our Gita? It says not every religion has books.
Right, but I wasn't referring to Sanatana Dharma. All the answers are there in Sanatana Dharma.
Okay.
Yes,
That's
it's a complete knowledge.
All right.
Yes.
To attain God, is doing good add to that, or it adds to your karma?
Is doing good is called karma. Remember the 4 types of karma described in Gita: karma, vikarma, karma yoga, karma sannyas. So in this context, karma means doing good with the mind attached in the world, whereas karma yoga means doing good with your mind attached in God. So if the mind is attached in God, you'll attain God. If the mind is not, you won't. Very simple.
So the second part of the question would be that if we do bad things, are our cumulative karmas going to be destroyed?
Yes. Krishna says in the very end of the Gita that ma mekam sharanam vraja. Surrender to me wholeheartedly. Then aham tvam sarva papebhyo. I will liberate you from all your past actions, good and bad, because the good ones are also binding if they were done with worldly attachment. So I wipe the slate clean. So he eliminates all of our past karma when we surrender to him fully. That's the moment of God realization.
But the question which I was having was, yesterday we were talking that we go into next journey, the karmas go there and you start from that level.
Yes.
So if you do bad things, not related to God, but if you do bad things, will that state go down?
No, that also, you have to undergo that. If we may be doing some devotion to God and attaching our mind to God, and then at the same time, maybe we're doing some good actions with our mind attached in the world, some bad actions with our mind attached in the world. So those are going to be binding actions. In our next life, we'll get the benefit of our devotion, which will mean we'll be drawn towards God, we'll have a natural affinity towards God, but then we'll also have good and bad things happen to us, which is our destiny, because of the good and bad we did with our mind attached in the world in this life. So the whole thing carries forward. Yes?
Isn't attachment necessary to some extent to keep the world going? If there is no attachment, how will we get families? How will the world will go on?
Through need, not through attachment. Like right now, my stomach is growling. I'm hungry. I need food. That doesn't mean that I need to be attached to the food I'm going to eat, but I'm going to eat it as a means of sustenance. See, your body won't let you... See, even though I'm not attached, my body's still not giving me chutti, saying, okay, have nothing to do with the world. No, my body is making me be involved in the world. So you don't have a choice. As long as you have a physical body, you're bound to be involved in the worldly things, one way or another. But you can do it without attachment. Yes?
Last question. When we say good and bad, is that good and bad to the attached ones or good and bad to the God?
I didn't understand the
When we
question.
say we do good our karmas are good and all that. When we do bad, when we use the term good and bad, it's towards the attached word, means our brothers, sisters, humans, or towards God.
So
when we say good and bad, means who?
So, meaning that we've offended against God or something, sure, that would count as a bad action as well. If someone is disrespectful towards God or God's names or God's leelas, any kind of disrespect or even disregard is a form of sin. And in fact, it's more serious towards God. It has a polluting effect in our heart, which blocks our affinity for God. So it makes it more difficult to even be attracted towards God because of those offenses.
So I don't think I made that clear. Suppose I'm in this world and I do good or bad to a human, another human.
Yes.
Will that be counted, or if I do good or bad towards God? I disrespect God, that's bad.
Both are counted.
Both are counted?
Yes. But in fact, the ones towards God have a heavier value. More weight is given to them. Any other questions? Okay, we'll continue with a couple more topics of the 6th chapter. Aside from the meditation part, which is karma sannyas. When you're sitting and meditating, you're doing karma sannyas. Shri Krishna also talks in the 6th chapter about living in general in the world. So there are a couple verses in this regard. Natyashnatastu yogosti nachaikantamanashnata nachati swapnashilasya jagrato naiva charjuna yuktahar viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. He says this yoga, and again he's talking about the yoga where you're attaching your mind to God. This yoga is effective if you also live a balanced and healthy life in the world. So he gives specific examples. He says, do not eat too much, but do not eat too little. Balance. Do not sleep too much, but do not sleep too little. A healthy amount. He says your behavior also, yukta cheshta karmasu. Your actions, your behavior, the way you comport yourself in the world, that should also be moderated. It should be modest. Friendly, but not too outgoing. Means moderate your behavior, be balanced, calm, balanced in your behavior, balanced in your eating, balanced in your sleeping. In other words, live a healthy, good life in the world as well. Don't think, see, some people are under the misconception that if they're doing some kind of spiritual advancement, they're meditating on Krishna, attaching their mind to Him. So they're progressing, but then they allow themselves to be sloppy on the physical side, saying that, well, I don't want this world anyway. I want God. I want the divine world. So I'm not going to be careful. I'm not going to be, worried about what's happening with my worldly side of my life. Krishna says, no. If you take that attitude, your body will become ill. That will distract your mind. Then how will you do devotion? This body is the means of doing devotion to God. These hands are meant to serve God. This mouth is meant to sing God's name. This mind is meant to love God. These feet are meant to take us to holy places and holy people. This head is meant to bow down to God and to saints. Our body is meant for devotion. So if we're not taking care of our body, it means we're spoiling our devotion. If our body gets spoiled, our mind also gets spoiled. We can't compartmentalize. It's impossible to be careful in devotion and sloppy in the world. Either you're a careful person or you're a sloppy person. So if someone becomes careless in their worldly matters, it will make them careless in devotion to God as well. So we have to do everything properly, according to the proper place, proper time, do our work carefully, do our family duties properly, all of it as service to God. That's how we should take it. That you've given me this human birth, so I'm going to live the way you've described that a human being should live. And that means carefully doing all the physical duties in the world, but loving God. That's it. So this is his instruction to us as human beings. How should we live in the world? And he says, in addition to that, remember that I'm with you all the time. Always feel that you are not alone. I am with you. This is the Karma Yoga part. Karma Sannyas is when you're sitting and meditating, or you're in the mandir like you are now, just having your mind engaged only in God. And Karma Yoga is the rest of your day when you have to balance your eating and sleeping and working and other duties while keeping your mind in God. So does anyone have any questions about the Karma Yoga part?
If you want to quantify, for example, you do half an hour of meditation, how much you are closer to attaining God?
I don't think I can answer that question actually, other than to say every moment you spend with your mind in God is of value. So whatever effort you make, every moment is of value. So the more time we spend, the faster we'll progress. Any other questions? The last 2 shlokas of the 6th chapter make a very strong statement about how to surrender to God. Shri Krishna says, Tapasvibhyadhiko yogi jnanibhyopi matodhika karmabhyaschadhiko yogi tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Again, he's using the word yoga or yogi to mean one who is surrendering to God, attaching their mind to God. So he says, Arjun, become a yogi. It means surrender to me. The tapasvi also has to become a yogi. It means the one doing austerities cannot reach God simply through his austerities. He must surrender his mind to God. Because only through God's grace can he attain God, not through the work of his austerities. Jnanibhyopi matodhika. The jnani also has to become a yogi. It means the one following the path of jnana also has to surrender to Krishna, otherwise he can't attain him. The karmi, the one following all the injunctions of the Vedas, doing all the good actions in the world, he also has to become a yogi. He has to surrender to God. Therefore, Arjun, you also become a yogi. But yoginam api sarvesham madgatam nantaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yuktatamo mata. Out of all those yogis, meaning the one who's doing tapasya and surrendering to me, the jnani who's surrendering to me, the karmi who's surrendering to me, out of all of them, the best is the one who just loves me without mixing it with any other kind of spiritual practice. In other words, he's saying, become a pure bhakti yogi. Just love me, make me your own. Give your heart and mind to me. Don't mix it with tapasya or gyan or Vedic karmas. Just love me. That's it. Krishna's final statement in the 6th chapter. So he made 2 points here. Everyone can surrender to him, but he considers the best devotee to be the one who is exclusive, meaning who's just loving him through bhakti and not complicating it by adding in other practices. Any questions about that? Yes?
I'm struggling a little bit. The 3 words, mana, which is translated as mind, buddhi, and medha.
And what was the last one?
Medha, the Sanskrit word that sometimes is used. So can you draw a distinction between 2 of them or amongst 3 of them?
Yes.
Help me understand.
Medha also is used normally to refer to the buddhi or intellect. So I'll just concentrate on man and buddhi. Man and buddhi are 2 sides of the same coin. Your antahakaran. See, I'll start with the Sanskrit terms. Antahakaran has 2 main facets, man and buddhi. So the man is your emotional mind and buddhi is intellectual mind. So the buddhi is meant to control the man. Meaning, man gets all the impulses. But buddhi discriminates what's right and what's wrong. So that's why you see children, they haven't developed that ability to control their man to the full extent. That's why they're more impulsive. Whereas as adults, we learn to control that. And if we don't control it, then we look like children. So the buddhi is meant to govern the man. And both are just different functions of the same antahakaran. Now when we're talking in English, it becomes complicated because sometimes we refer to the antahakaran as mind. Sometimes we refer to man as heart. Sometimes we refer to man as mind. Sometimes we refer to buddhi as mind. Sometimes we refer to buddhi as intellect. So all these words get jumbled up. But if you just think of it this way, buddhi is your intellect or intellectual mind. Man is your emotional mind or heart. And antahakaran is the whole thing. Okay.
So, what I understood, what you just told me, that God says, love me. Love means, suppose I am praying in front of God and I say, okay, I will do this for the temple, or I will do this for this human being, I will do this daily prayers, and I follow that. That's the love we are talking about, something else.
That's a good start. And then I would add something else to that, which is feeling a relationship with God. One of those relationships I was mentioning earlier. So that relationship has to be felt in the heart. Then real love is there. And love also means desiring. We should long to meet God. You know, if you're separated from someone you love, you long to meet with them. So we've been separated from God since eternity. So our longing should be there. Then we really have love for God. So the path of bhakti is about developing that longing and developing the feelings of relationship for God. So why don't we do a few minutes of meditation along with kirtan? Just apply what you learned here today. Think of a relationship with Krishna and picture his form. You can also think of Radha. If you want to think of any other form of God, you're also welcome to. But many people find it easiest to meditate on Krishna because there's no restrictions. You can love him informally. You don't have to worry about rules and regulations with Krishna. Love him any way you want. So choose a form and choose an age that you're going to think of him and picture him in your mind and then feel related. Feel that loving relationship with him. And in addition to that, you can imagine any Leela, if you would like to, some kind of interaction between you and Krishna, or maybe you're watching a Leela happening. You can either be directly involved in it or you're watching it. Either way, whatever you like. Or maybe it's just you and Krishna. It's up to you. This is the meditation which Krishna indicates in the Gita and which is described in detail in the Bhagavatam. We call it Roop Dhyan in our organization. Kripaluji Maharaj refers to it as Roop Dhyan. So practice this while we do some chanting, which also helps keep the mind engrossed in thinking of Krishna and blocks out external distractions. Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Oh Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe Oh Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 We can all open our eyes. And by the way, there are some chanting CDs available over there. I think they haven't been put out, but Nikki, can you put out the chanting CDs from the box also? Those are a nice aid in meditation. So if you want to practice this same meditation at home, you can use some of these chanting CDs that have similar kirtan that will help you with your meditation. So it looks like our youth group has returned.
Not all of them.
Or have we?
Okay.
We are in the process.
This
I remember I left it here.
Yeah. 100. So who got first piece of the
Wait, you're not.
if there's anything to ask.
wait, so who got first and last?
How do we know?
If there's any
I forgot the pitch. But the guy's sitting right next to me.
wow.
There? And I told him yes, right now,
These are books. Books. 2. You guys just stop looking. Just stop looking. Wait. You'll find out.
no, not that. Thank you.
Okay, good. No, it's a good time.
It's out of control.
Oh, you didn't have
But I did.
Yes, hello, attention everybody. We have been recording Bhaiya's program for every day. So this program will be available on the internet. So anybody who would like to, they can give email IDs and we'll send the links out when they are all uploaded. So you can watch the entire program if you missed a day in between. There's a sheet in the back, so you just give your email ID.
Can you put an HCC website?
We need the email ID so we can send them the links.
We can do that.
Sure, you can do that as well if you'd like. So I'm going to start by giving certificates. Certificates of participation and perfect attendance. So everybody who came will get something, Those who came every single day will get the Perfect Attendance Award, and those who didn't come every day but you participated will give you this certificate of participation. So I would like to call Akarsh Shriram. Shriram Maganti, I'm not sure if I said your last name right. Rishi Jaiswal. Shubham Singh. Jessica Arora. Nikhil Arora. Dia Singh. Now, according to the attendance as it was taken by the teachers, that's everybody who had perfect attendance. If we missed anyone, we have a few blanks and we can fill your name in. Did we miss anyone who was here every day?
Or almost perfect.
No, not almost. 7 days.
They were here right now, so they came here perfect.
Okay.
Now, we want to, also, we tried to get everybody with these certificates of participation. If anyone is left out by the end, just raise your hand and we have some blanks we can fill out. Shrenik Kankaria.
He's not here today.
I'll take it.
Arnav also, I guess, is not here.
Yeah.
Sejal Bhargav. Archit Bhargav.
Why do you need to make sure that they don't have it?
Rishabh.
They can do the
How do I
dance.
say the last name?
Tandon.
Tandon. Kanu Kapalash. Dia Agarwal.
Yeah, no, that's not her.
Dia Daruka. Sartak Bel. Sakcham Bel.
Section, come.
Oh, here, just give it to him. It's okay. Did I say his name wrong?
No.
Don't disturb my peace.
Rahul Katre. Manan Manchanda. Ritik Manchanda. Jay Rathore. Did I say your name right? Okay. Now, is there anyone who was here this week who didn't get one? Or, oh yes, you were here. Were you here every day? So please
Come see, oh, no,
go,
I mean.
go in the back. Who has the blanks? Go in the back and meet all the kids who didn't get a certificate of participation, and they'll write one out for you. Why don't you come up here and tell your name first? Come here.
Perfect attendance is like a certificate.
What's your name?
Anika Tandon.
Okay.
Sanjana Jain. Akshantya Barrett. Arya Barrett.
So Big congratulations to all of you for coming and learning here this